Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, to the channel IT Simplified. In today's video on Veeam, I'm here to show you and complete the third part in the deployment of Veeam Cloud Connect. So, if you have been following our track, in the first two videos, we deployed Veeam Cloud Connect server in the Azure environment. So, what we have done so far, if you're watching this for the first time, we deployed a server, and the name of the server was VCC, and we deployed that within the Azure environment. And there was a storage attached to this server. And what we also did was we configure this also as a WAN accelerator. So this Veeam Cloud Connect server was acting as a WAN accelerator. We also specify the tenants in this and how much storage they'll be using. So what we're trying to achieve over here is that with Veeam Cloud Connect as an MSP. So everything we have configured right now is on the service provider side, right? So we also added a couple of tenants. So let's name this tenant 1, tenant 2, and tenant 3. So what Veeam Cloud Connect allows you to do is when we're talking about these multi-sites with Veeam Cloud Connect, you don't need to manage a VPN, which can be very challenging. So what we'll be doing is that in today's video, we'll be having these Veeam backup replication server in these sites. We'll be also making this as a WAN accelerator so you can use the bandwidth in most optimum way, because when you're talking about moving the data from one location to another, bandwidth sometimes is also an issue. But Veeam Cloud Connect comes with built-in WAN accelerator which we can utilize. We have already configured at the target location, so this is our target location. We will be also configuring that at the source location. So this is on the service provider side, and this is all on the client side. So in today's session, we'll look everything on the client side, right? Because we configured in the first and second video, we have configured everything. We have also generated the certificate, which we'll be using over here for authentication purposes, right? So that's how they talk between each other. As I said, that there is no VPN connectivity needed. The communication takes place by using the SSL certificate. Okay, so these were things done in the previous two videos. So let me just go back to my uh, Veeam backup and replication server, right? So as you can see over here, so the first thing I want to do is I also want to configure the source WAN accelerator. So at the source location, so you can just go and highlight WAN accelerator and click on add WAN accelerator. You can have a separate role on a separate machine, but will be deploying on the same machine, which is VBR. That's the name of my server. I leave the traffic port and the streams at the default and go to next. And over here I can specify for caching sizes. You can specify the amount of space you want to give. But for this demonstration, I'll just put it 25 gig, but depending upon the size of your environment, you have to plan that accordingly and click on apply. So right now we are configuring this WAN accelerator at the source location so that we can use the bandwidth at the optimum level. And the whole idea over here is that we want to achieve 3 to 1. So 3 copies of data, 2 copy of on 2 different media with 1 copy offsite, and this copy will be in the on the Veeam Cloud Connect server. And as a service provider, you can manage everything from the for the client side. So let's go and click on next, because when accelerator was rolled established successfully, and click on finish. So the first part is done, and the second part, what we'll be doing is to use the certificate and the credential that the service provider had provided us, and we'll see how we can utilize this. So let me just minimize this. Okay, so these credentials were provided to me by the service provider. So this is a thumbnail for the certificate, and this is my the IP address of my Veeam Cloud Connect server, the username and the password. So let me just go and highlight service provider. Let's go to add service provider, and it is asking the DNS name or the IP address, which I already have. So let me just copy this and put it over here. I will allow the server to be managed by the service provider. Go and click on next. Let me go and hit continue over here, and the thumbprint which is asking, it is already provided to me by this service provider. So let me just copy this also and click on verify. The certificate has been validated, and let me provide the credentials which was again given to me by the service provider. So let me add that, provide the username and the password, click on OK, apply. So it's trying to establish the connection with the service provider, and as you can see that I have this cloud repository which is 10 gig. That is the amount of space which is available on the Veeam Cloud Connect server, and that is okay with me. Go and click on apply, click on next, and click on finish. Okay, so it's starting the services now. So everything was completed successfully. I can go and click on close. And now if I go to the backup repository, you will see that I can see the default backup repository, and I also have the cloud repository which is 10 gigs. So the idea over here is that I can create a backup copy job, right? And when I run this backup copy job, the first copy will be created at this location, which is at the client location, and then the offsite copy or the offsite copy will be connected to the Veeam Cloud Connect server, the space that we have specified in this location. And in case something happens to my on-prem data, I can always recover that from this Veeam Cloud Connect server, which will be always there. That is the whole idea. And from the service provider point of view, this is a great tool because you can use this to enable backup as a service, right? So if you manage different infrastructure for your different customers, you can use this for providing backup as a service, and you can also use this for providing disaster recovery as a service too. So in case the whole infrastructure goes down, you can also specify, or you can also configure disaster recovery as a service, and you can fail over the whole site in your data center location. But in this video, which is part 3 of Veeam Cloud Connect, so it completes, we have successfully configured the Veeam Cloud Connect server. In the first video and the second video, we generated the certificate, and in this third video we have configured the WAN accelerator at the source location, and we have also added the tenant and we have also added the service provider in this video, and configured the storage for our offsite repository. I hope you found this video on Veeam Cloud Connect server useful. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.